the number one thing, and you start putting your questions in. Once there's a good list, I'll switch to audience questions, which I love. Your library has it. Yes, feel free to borrow it. You don't need to get it from me. And I see a bunch of people have started voting up questions, which is awesome. So I'll jump to those soon. Look, the number one thing the book makes a point about is it says job search is a matter of effort. And the more effort you put in, the faster it will go. So let's say it's going to take you 500 hours to find a job. If you do that 50 hours a week, you're done in 10 weeks and you have your new job. If you do that 5 hours a week, it's going to take you 100 weeks and you're going to be at it for 2 years. So a lot of networking for a new job is how much effort you put into it. And the good news is a lot of that effort, maybe all of it, almost all of it, can be put in before you ever need to find a job. And we're going to talk about that. So let's see. Our first question here, which will pop up in a second, is about LinkedIn. And my main point tonight, besides put in the effort in your job search, don't lay around waiting for people to call you back on resumes, that will never happen, is build a network. And so since we have a question about LinkedIn, let's go ahead and talk about LinkedIn for a little bit. So mods, go ahead and pin that. The questions will pop up over my head. Dylan Fee, thank you for following. And I see Enjoyable Gaming, welcome in. A bunch of people in the chat, thank you. As always, feel free to comment in chat. So questions should pop up over my head here in a second. There we go. So what is the best way to contact someone working at a company that I would like to work at via LinkedIn? How do I go from a chat setup from LinkedIn to them helping me get a job at that company? How should I structure the talk with them? So the first thing I was looking for, and by the way, in chat there, Holtz Live, thank you very much for the compliment. I'm excited for my channel to blow up too. Hopefully in a very good way eventually. But we're doing it the old-fashioned way, not cheating to make it bigger. So as viewers find us, we appreciate it if you enjoy this content, recommend it to your friends, and let me help them, because that's what I'm here to do. If you haven't seen it on my website, I think the moderators already put the link to the website there. I say on there, my goal here is to share the experience I've gotten the hard way in 25 years of leadership and executive work with you for free. That way you can go faster in your career than I did and suffer less, because I'm not really into you suffering. And so look, I want you guys to benefit from the missteps I made. Going back to this question, first thing is, if you don't have a LinkedIn, account and you're not building a network there, and you want to work particularly in the professional world, you need to do that. LinkedIn is where professionals form their network and keep track of their contacts. Most people in LinkedIn, if they know you or work with you, will accept a link and you build up a network there. So before I started the Easy Coach, I probably had 17 or 1,800 contacts in LinkedIn I had built up over my career. And then through the Easy Coach, about another 500 have joined over the last 6 months. So I've been on LinkedIn something over 10 years. And I guess I've got 2,300 people or thereabouts I'm connected to. So if I ever needed a job, number one, I probably know someone at any company I'd want to work at least know them in the LinkedIn sense. And number two, I've got that big network I can put my resume out to and get a lot of attention. So recommendation one is simply use LinkedIn. Now answering this question, what is the best way to contact someone working at a company I would like to work at via LinkedIn? Well, the closer you are to them, the better. So if you're directly connected, even if you haven't talked to them in a long time, reach out to them. If you're not directly connected, I would try to invite them and see if they would connect. And I just send them a message that says, look, I'm interested in working at your company, or I'm interested in your company. Could we connect? And give them a reason or ask them a question. But basically, you want to ask them, you can ask them directly for help getting a job. I get inbound requests all the time for help, some of which I respond to, and because I get so many, some of which I don't. But I try to help people if they're qualified, or I give them some advice and point them to someone else. The point, and yeah, a lot of people on LinkedIn chat says, have a note that says, I'm hiring for X. So if you're going in with a cold message, though, ask them a question about their work. Ask them what they're looking for. Hiring managers like to be asked what they need, not what you do. So when I'm telling my managers how to write a job description, I don't tell them to list what we need, because that's not interesting to you as a candidate. I tell them to write what you will get to do. So if you're going to work on one of my teams and my team has written the job description right, it will say, you're going to join the team and you'll have the chance to contribute to this project, which will have this impact. So it's about what you're going to do. Well, if you're contacting someone via LinkedIn, you need to turn that around and not say, look, my name's Lisa and I'm a designer and I need a designer job. I want a UX job. Instead, you say, hey, I come from a design background. I'm really interested in what kind of challenging design problems your company has, because I'm trying to figure out if I could help with them. And so hiring managers are happy to describe what problems they have. Like, that's easy for them. Asking them to get you a job, no, but then once they've told you what problems they have or who can tell you, you can also say, look, can you point me to a designer? Let's use the example of a designer. Can you point me to a designer and ask them, then ask them to introduce you and say, look, I'm trying to learn more about the design challenges. And then once you know the challenge, you can say, oh, I worked on a project like that in college, or, hey, I worked on something like that. Do you think I could help? Or could you take a quick look at my portfolio on that project? So the point of this is, don't just immediately ask for a job. Ask about their problems, because everyone's happy to share with you their challenging problems. Not everyone is happy to share with you whether or not they want to hire you or help you get hired. But if you engage them positively,